We left to go overseas from Boston. We landed in Liverpool. We were in England for about a month or two once. I went across the English Channel. I landed on Normandy, 1944, a month after D-Day. The only thing we had to be careful was the landmines. We went from the ship to the LST, and we walked to the shore. We were deep in water, A week or so, we just kept walking. It was very cold.
Freedom is the song that we sing as we march on.
Okay, Mr. Richard Rossi.
That's me.
World War II veteran, 101 years old, did you say?
That's what I am, yes.
I just want to start off and say genuinely thank you for being here, because for me, I'm a millennial generation.
That's okay.
So it's not every day that I or anybody in my generation has the opportunity to sit down with somebody.
That's great.
One of your age, but also with your background.
Yeah.
So I really appreciate you coming here and taking the time out of your day.
That's my honor.
Just kind of start by telling us a little bit about you.
Yes, well, I grew up I was born in Lorain, Ohio, which is about 25 miles west of Cleveland on Lake Erie. And I was born June 1st, 1924. And at the end of the month of June, I was just a baby, Lorain had the worst tornado in Ohio history. It was a real bad tornado. It did a lot of damage, and we were very fortunate. We weren't right on Lake Erie, but they really had a lot of damage. People, I don't know, I forget how many got killed, but it was a bad storm. And I went to grade school, of course, and I met my best friend, Robert Bailey. He's really my best friend. We grew up together. I met him in the 5th grade in school. And we were both musicians.
Wow.
And we both played clarinet, saxophones, and we played in a high school band together, did everything together. And we traveled together, and we played with different bands. And we went to the service together. We were both 19 years old. And we both went to Port Huron. There was a camp where they separated us. We went different ways. And we were always together. We never separated. All through high school, marching bands and high school band, we did everything together. And I had a pretty good life growing up. I had a lot of memories. Of course, in those days, it was a lot different today. There's too much hatred today.
Sure.
There was hatred in our days too, but not like today. It's much different. Well, at the Camp Perry, we were separated. He went to Tennessee in the 79th Infantry. And I went to Camp Walters, Texas, where I took my training, basic training. And I went on to Fort Benning, Georgia. I went to radio school there. And I passed the radio test and so forth. And then I went overseas. I wasn't in the States very long, maybe 6 months.
So going back to how you grew up and your relationship with your family, did your father serve in the military?
Yes, yes, he served. It's remarkable. I mean, he came from Italy when he was 15 years old, and all by himself. And he worked at the steel plant in Lorraine. That's what everybody just worked at the steel plant. That was their salary. And he worked in the steel plant and he got hurt, and he had to stop working, and he went into a nightclub business,
Wow.
and he did pretty good. But he was also in World War One. And when I came back from overseas, we talked about it, and he says he was in the same places I was at,
Wow.
Ardennes, and of course we had the Battle of the Bulge, and he didn't have that there, but he was in all the same. I went through France, Belgium, Luxembourg, France, Germany, and we walked. We didn't ride. We walked. Yeah. The only thing that was on the trucks was our food and what we have. Not much food. It was all rations.
Sure. So that's very interesting. Your dad was in World War One.
Right.
Did he ever give you or share any stories about World War One with you when you were
Not
growing
really.
up?
No, not really. But he got mustard gas when he was. Of course, that was the big thing. World War One, mustard gas, and he did get a little bit of that, but that was about all he got. But he did pretty good.
When you were young, did you see him as, like a war hero, or that he,
Well,
reverence for him?
It's not like today. I think today us people we get a lot of accolades. In those days, we just took it for granted. We did he did what he was supposed to do. And when I went to the service, I did what I did too. I just automatically do things like that.
Yeah, it's very different today where it's, there's an option to enlist. And of course, there was drafts back then. It was a little bit different.
Yeah.
But would you say that men were treated any different if they did not enlist back then?
As soldiers, you mean, or
Yes.
no? No, not really. We never thought about things like they do today. It was different. We just did what we had to do.
Yeah. So now take me to the moment that you decided to enlist. I think when we were preparing for this, you shared with me that Pearl Harbor had happened and you went down right after Pearl Harbor, was it? And then you decided to enlist?
When Pearl Harbor happened, I was 17 years old then. And, maybe close to 18, but when I reached 19, Bob and I both, we weren't drafted, we enlisted. And,
Enlisted around 19 years old, and then
yes.
you became, you went to radio school, right? You said?
I was in radio school, took the Morse code, and I passed that. And I went to, after Fort Benning, and went to Taunton, Massachusetts. And I was there for 2 weeks, and we left to go overseas from Boston. And of course, that took 12 days on the ship to go there. We landed in Liverpool. And we were in England for about, I would say, a month or 2 months. We went all through. Like I said, we walked. And I went across the English Channel. I landed on Normandy in 1944. It wasn't D-Day. It was, I was there maybe a month after D-Day. It was pretty well cleaned up when I went there, but the only thing we had to be careful was the landmines and the strafing. They strafe a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And I can remember the LSTs. We went from the ship to the LST. The LSTs, we got about 50 yards from the shore. We get off the LST, and we walked the shore. We were deep in water,
Wow.
So, but it was okay. And we went. It was about, I don't know, about a week or so. We just kept walking, and we walked all the way through France. And we had to be very careful. I was with the Third Army, which was General Patton.
Right.
And, he was not too well liked by his guys, but I liked him. I thought he was a good general, very good general.
Yeah, tell me more about that. What was it like in Patton's Third Army? What did you hear from the guys? What you said you liked him? Tell me a little bit more about what it was like to even be in his presence when you were.
Oh, well, I've seen him 3 times. Never talked to him, but I saw him.
Okay, well, you got to tell us about this.
Yeah, well, when I was in Germany, I went to the hospital. I had trench foot. I wasn't able to walk, so I was in the hospital like 4 days. And when I first got there, the doctor scared me. He said you might have to look those feet. We wouldn't have to amputate on it, but. Well, I was a little scared.
Wow.
Yeah, but I was after a couple of days. I felt my feet, the numbness going away. I wasn't able to walk yet, but after 4 days, I got up a little bit and I walked a little bit. The doctor said, "Fine, we're going to send you back on limited duty, for a couple of weeks." I was okay. I got up and walked around. It was very cold. We slept in pup tents.
Right.
Just myself and another fellow. We get together with 2 tents, and we slept in that mud.
Right.
And it was bad. It was bad. But I survived, and
So tell me about, you said you met General Patton 3 times.
yes. No, I didn't. I met him.
Excuse me,
I never talked to him.
Right. You shared with us, though, that you saw him.
Yes.
Which, I mean, I feel a man like that, even when he walks into the room, you feel that presence.
Oh, yeah, yes. Well, when he walked into the room, he had like 10 or 12 guys in back of him, all majors and colonels and whatever.
Wow.
And, well, let me tell you, Nancy, France was the headquarters of the Third Army. And we were in the field near Fontainebleau, which was close to France, Paris. But we weren't able to get to Paris because at that time, it was 1940, at the end of the year, it was just about all the gas was shortage, the gas shortage. And we weren't able to move on. We were just stopped right in Fontainebleau. And myself and another fellow, the sergeant told us to go back to Nancy, France to get games and stuff, to bring back to the guys. And that's where I was separated from them because I saw a saxophone.
Oh.
It was, I asked the sergeant, I said, who's the saxophone for? He says, nobody, we're looking for someone. They said, well, I'm someone.
Right. Your love for music.
Yeah, because I did a lot of traveling with bands while I was back in the States. And so, I stayed there for 2 weeks, and he told me it'd be about 2 weeks to stay. And I never went back to my engineer outfit, which was the 1301st Engineers. So I never went back, and I stayed with the with the 3rd Special Service outfit, which we did the shows for all the soldiers.
Wow.
Yeah, we did a lot for soldiers. But I was still with 3rd Army. It was the 3rd Special Service was a branch of the 3rd Army. And well, let me tell you, when I landed on, I think it was July 8th, I landed on Normandy Beach. Excuse me. That was when my friend was killed, July 8th. And it was awfully strange.
Wow.
Me landing on July 8th, he's getting killed on July 8th. You know,
This is the friend that you grew up with.
Yes, that's Bob Bailey. Yeah.
Wow.
Oh my gosh, she was such a nice fellow and quite a good musician. And yeah, that's where we. Well, anyway, I went to a cemetery and talked to him. So, yeah. Yeah. Well, when I was with the 3rd Special Service, then of course we traveled all around with. There was 2 bands, a big band and a small band, and I was fortunate enough to play in both of them. So we did shows, and Mickey Rooney had the Jeep shows, which were attached to our outfit. They would go one place, and we had the Jamboree shows, and we would go somewhere else. But we get all back together. Yeah, he was stationed with us for about half a year, and we had. I remember playing for a brigadier general in Nancy, France.
Wow.
And that's where I saw General Patton. He came into the party.
Wow.
But he didn't stay long. He just stayed for maybe a half hour or so. Then he left. But he walked with all his guys back with the pistols.
Yeah.
Yeah, but because I was playing we had a small orchestra, but then we were playing for the party.
Right.
Let me tell you, the saxophone was a big part of my life, and I think it saved my life.
Yeah. How would you say it saved your life? What would you say?
It kept me in high school.
Okay. It kept.
Yeah. Because in my days, a lot of people would drop out of school.
Right.
Yeah.
What it sounds like to me, it's the passion as you were playing, even through your service. You had such a passion, and I just think about the men that you were playing for, their experience, and how valuable that probably was for them.
Oh, yes. Hell yes. And I met a lot of people, too. I mean, we had a lot of celebrities. They came from, from
Wow.
the States. And we backed them up. But like I said, the saxophone, a big part of my life. In fact, I wrote a little book about the saxophone.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I met my first wife playing the saxophone.
When did you meet her?
I met her.
So after your service, you met your first
after my
wife.
service, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And was she from your town or?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the families all knew each other,
Yeah. Yeah.
Those days was different.
Well, tell me a little bit about your wife. Tell me a little bit about
My wife.
We want to know your love story,
My love story.
Yes.
Well, it didn't take too long after I was discharged for the service. We met, I think I said about 3 months after. And it so happens that her brother was a musician also.
Oh my gosh.
And we got together, we played together. And we were playing in his mom's cellar. And my wife, she was like 5 years younger or 4 years younger than me. She was in the cellar also with my nephew. They were sitting together, and we were playing. And she asked my nephew, said, "Who is that fella?"
Oh.
And that's where we met. So.
Wow. And how long were you guys married? She
passed away at her 50th anniversary.
Wow.
We were married 50 years.
50 years.
And she passed that one. Yeah.
So, what would you say is the trick to a 50-year marriage?
Oh, it's a good marriage. We had, like everybody else, we had ups and downs, but it was really different in those days, you know. In those days, people, the women stayed home,
Right.
you know.
Yes.
They did the house and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And if a guy was doing stuff like that, they would look at the guy and say, "You're crazy. You shouldn't be doing that. The woman's got to do that."
Right. Which has its value, right?
But I didn't. I helped with dishes and I helped with everything.
Sure.
You know, maybe I was odd. I don't know. Yeah, but yeah, and then that was back in Laredo, Ohio. Then we moved to Florida in 1963.
Mm-hmm.
And she passed 1997. Yeah, she passed in 1997. In about 99, I guess, I met another lady.
Another one. Wow.
And that was because I was there playing the dance with my saxophone.
Oh,
there again, my
it's-
saxophone.
It's a magnet for all the women.
Well, I was playing with the drummer. He had a lady friend also. Yeah, she was a teacher. And they were at this dance. And they asked if we were to go to dinner with his girlfriend. And the teacher had another lady with her, which is what I met. You know, she was also a teacher, a linguist. And she was from Alberta, Canada.
Wow.
Yeah, French Canadian. Nice lady. We stayed together for a long time. Well, about 25 years more, maybe. And we never got married. We lived together, but never got married. And she is still, she's in California now. She's in a assisted living, just like I had here.
Wow.
And but she's getting old. She had 4 strokes. And she's doing very good. I mean, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So walk me through where you were during Battle of the Bulge. You mentioned that you were overseas then. Walk me through that.
Yes, we were. We had. Chris, I don't know if you see them. There's 4 stars up there. Those are bronze stars, which means I was in 4 different war zones. And one was the Battle of the Bulge, in the Ardennes, in South Africa. I forget a lot of things, but and this is the French Legion of Honor medal.
Okay.
That was given to me about 17 years ago. Yeah, that's from the French Embassy in Miami. Yeah. There was, excuse me, there was like 7 or 8 of us, and we were pitted with this. The first person that got one of these was Napoleon.
Okay, so one of the things that I found fascinating was you were talking with me yesterday a little bit about when you went back to Normandy.
Yeah.
I believe it was Normandy, you said.
Yeah, it was Normandy. We went to different places. We did a lot of parade stuff, and we seen different sites. Then we went to the American Cemetery, where I saw my friend Bob. In fact, I saw him twice. When I was being interviewed with the Today Show.
Okay.
Yeah. And I told the girl, I says, I forgot something. I have to go back and tell them. She said, okay, we'll go back. And so the next day I went back again and we talked. Every time we talked, the mirrors would chirp. And I said, Bob, I says, I'm back to see you and talk to you. But I forgot to tell you we won the war.
Wow.
Yeah. So, it was so overwhelming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, one of the things I found really interesting when you were talking to me was how when you went to that anniversary, you were sitting at the table with both Americans and Germans.
Yes. Young kids,
Yes.
Yeah. we just talked. You know, it was so different. You know, in my days, with the Germans, we had problems. You know, but they were friendly.
But it brings the human factor, like the humanity to things, right?
Yeah, oh yeah. We're all human beings, you know. And we have lunch together and talk together, but back in the 41, 42, we were fighting each other, you know. And here we are talking like friends,
Yeah.
which is nice.
Is there a moment during your service that you remember feeling? So you enlisted, you had a lot of courage. You explained, hey, I'm just a young kid. I'm, taking that ship over even just to England and then finally going over to Germany and Europe. Was there ever a moment where you felt like an immense amount of fear for the first time where things just set in and got maybe more real?
You know, I never thought about stuff like that. No, it felt like, I don't know. I was proud to be there. Let's put it that way.
Yes.
You know, and we were doing things that the United States was a great country. We're having problems now, but I still think it's a great country.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah.
So let's define courage, right? We feel that,
Well, I don't know.
I think I heard
You know, I think all of us, we're all 19 years old, 20 years old.
yeah.
Well, I had one guy who stayed with me. He was 28, and he was an old man. You know,
Wow.
28.
In the military, yeah, that's kind of
Yeah.
old, right?
Yeah, but when I came back to the States, it was so, like now. I mean, right now,
Sure.
it's so different now, and I wouldn't imagine I would be getting all the accolades I'm getting now. I just did what I was supposed to do, and everybody else did the same thing. So, what's this?
But you know what, though? I'm married to a Marine,
Okay.
okay?
So
And a different generation, of course, than yours, okay? And I talk to a lot of veterans. We have a lot of veteran family. We have a lot of veteran friends. And
Yeah.
there's a theme with you guys that every single veteran that I've ever spoken to says, could I have done what they did to the world, referencing the World War II guys? So people are proud of their service, but the men that I've spoken to always say, could I have done what the World War II guys did?
Yeah.
And that's why I feel like you get such reverence.
Well, that's nice. That's nice that people remember back, what we did. But I never thought about it when I was over there. I didn't,
Sure.
Especially the French people, they were so appreciative of what we did for them, I didn't really think about that until now, the last couple of 2 or 3 years. I said, gee, that's nice.
Yeah. Yeah. Feels good.
Yeah.
Okay. So the last question that I have to ask you
Okay.
is what makes America great?
What makes I think we stand up for our Constitution,
It's really not much else to say other than that, right?
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for sitting down with us. I appreciate you.
Well, we did what we had to do.
Yes.
But fortunately, we came out winners. So, yeah. And going back to the World War II Museum brought a lot of memories back. That's a great place. So if you've never been there, but you should go.
When did you go?
I went there last it was October, I think. It was something like that. Yeah. Yeah, we went there for 3 nights. It was nice.
Did you do that through the honor flight?
Oh, I did
program?
the honor flight. Yeah,
You did the honor flight also?
I did that maybe 17, 18 years ago.
Wow. How was that experience?
It was, oh, that was great. Yeah. It's the same thing, you a lot of memories flash back.
Yeah.
You see all those guys that got killed. I always said, uh, heroes don't wear capes. They wear dog tags. Remember that?
Yes.
Yeah. And I think everything I do, all these accolades I've been getting, these interviews and so forth, I do it for my friend.
Yeah.
He's always in my mind. Like right now, he's in my mind. I think of him. I'm sure if it happened the other way, he would be the same. Well, you're such a good friend. When we were in the high school band together, we used to go to the stadium to rehearse the movements we take for the football games. And we were after we were doing that, we walked back home. We always walked in those days. We didn't not many cars, bicycles. And he lived about 5 blocks away from me.
Wow.
And when we got back to a certain spot, he had to go his way, and I went my way. And we would turn around at each other and wave, for 5 blocks. We kept turning around, waving the whole time. I don't know. Probably people today will probably think we were gay, But no, we were.
Not back then. They didn't think of that.
We were very good friends. We were very good friends. Boys.
Well, I have an idea. Why don't we dedicate in the credits at the end of this episode to Bob Bailey?
Please.
If you had any advice for the younger generations, what would that be?
Just appreciate life and be happy.
Yeah.
And we hope there's no more wars. We don't need wars.
Well, from a younger generation to you, I will say that we will carry the torch of honoring the Constitution.
Thank you.
And the pursuit of happiness.
Yes.
Thanks to you.
Thank you.
If you enjoyed this episode, make sure that you like and share this video so that we can have the most impact for these stories. And make sure you tune in for episode 2 of The Road to Greatness.